Hello, guys. Helza. Today it is me, Ranulfer. Today, Havlar is not here. We'll be doing some of these podcasts separate, sometimes together. But today, and just like the last one, it'll be me and a guest. And I'm very happy for today's guest. It is my wife, who is also pagan, obviously. Her name is MJ, and she can introduce herself from here.
Hi, I'm MJ. I'm Ranulfer's wife. I'm primarily Greek pagan. My patrons are Hades and Persephone. They have basically followed me my entire life. I was raised Roman Catholic, and when I got into high school, I realized this isn't for me anymore, and so I spent a good 10 years trying to figure out what I wanted out of a religion that spoke to me. And so I found paganism, and I got into witchcraft, and it just blossomed from there.
Yeah. And we have been pagan for what, 5 years?
Yeah.
5 years.
Majority of our relationship.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've been pagan for 5 years. Obviously, she's Greek and I'm Norse pagan. Very different, but there are some similarities. There's, I've done some research. There is connections to some of the Norse gods to the Greek gods. I'm not going to consider Roman because they stole from the Greeks, but they're practically the same thing. But there's a book out there. I can't think of it right now. I had read it, and it did say that there were connections between like Odin and Tyr and Thor were connected to like some of the Roman gods, which are the Greek gods as well. So in a way, they're connected anyways.
Yeah.
So I think one was like connected to Jupiter and Mars. Obviously, because the Norse gods are war gods, the Aesir are war gods. In a way, all of them be connected to Mars.
Yeah, which is Ares in Greek mythology.
So
he's the god of war.
In a way, I would say, though, yes, you can consider all of the Norse gods war gods, because they are. But more, I would say, I want to say Tyr would be more connected to Ares, because, well, he's more of a law and justice. I mean, isn't Ares is more war, like...
He's like very war.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's more connected to Odin in a way, because Odin, he's always predicting or wants the war to go a certain way, and he always picks the winning team. Not always winning, though, because his wife always tricks him. But I can't think of anything. I forget what they connected it to. I would have to reread it again.
Well, typically, like, Odin is supposed leader of...
Yeah, so the big connection would be Zeus.
Yeah, obviously, because he is leader of the Greek gods for taking down the Titans.
Yeah, but the connection... there, yeah, because Odin did take down his, in a way, a family member, in a way, not directly. Ymir, the giant who created Earth, pretty much, from his body.
Yeah.
But another way of connecting Zeus to another god is Thor, because Thor controls the weather. He controls...
Yeah, you typically associate them with, like, thunderstorms and lightning, and yeah.
I wouldn't say too much of lightning, because the light, I think, if I'm correct, from different lore, Thor does not wield lightning. His hammer wields the lightning. It creates lightning.
Yeah.
and thunder.
Yeah.
So it's not Thor creating or making lightning and thunder. It's his hammer, Mjolnir. But that's a little bit of a connection between Greek and Norse. There's more books out there. It'll probably be listed down below in the YouTube when I find it, as well as we could probably list some Greek stuff out there. I know there's a lot of great books on
There's
Greeks.
a lot of great books. One I typically favor a lot, Stephen Fry. He's an amazing British author and just broadcaster, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
His book is on. He has a book on Greek myths and on the gods and on actually Greek heroes.
Oh yeah.
So such as Heracles and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I want to say it's Diana Paxton that has that book that I read, but I might be wrong. There was a book that I read that it had the connections to the Romans and the Norse, because in the Germanic historical forums or texts, the Germans and the Romans were at war for quite a while, and because they were so close to each other, the Romans actually feared the Germanic, not the Germanic people, but I guess in a way the Germanic people, because of the way they fought and their beliefs. And there's kind of one reason why the Roman Empire kind of fell, is because of the Germanic, I want to say it's the Valerian army. I might be wrong. Somebody will correct me. But there was an army, and it's in the book that I read, that connects the Romans and the Norse, and they talk about that army, and they were so strong and so feared the Romans couldn't do anything about it. That's why they lost everything. But that's pretty much a background on us and what the connection is between there. We've both worship both our gods. She does hers in a different way, and I support her in hers, because I can't say that they're not real, because I have felt them and not seen them, but I've felt them, and she's told me stories of them and her visions with them. And when certain holidays, we kind of combine them all together and worship them all together. Like Yule. Yule's Tuesday. The start of Yule. The first day of Yule is Tuesday. And a lot of different people worship Yule a different way. Some people do Yule on the day of Christmas. Some people do a more traditional, which I would say that from what we've read, a more traditional Viking, Norseman Yule festive is where they would do 9 nights of Yule, or not Viking, but more of a pagan, or more both.
Yeah, I know there's a Yule festival in Norway, Sweden, or one of those.
Probably all of 3 of them.
No, it's a huge one. It's
a huge one. It's
the biggest one. I believe.
I want to say it's Sweden.
I believe it's the one that's in Sweden, and theirs is. I forget how many nights theirs is, but it's huge. I think theirs is 3 nights, if I believe, but I'm not very sure.
Probably the 3 major nights are there.
Yeah.
But we do 12 nights of Yule, which the Christians got 12 nights of Christmas. Wonder where they got it from. But we do 12 nights of Yule. The way we do it is obviously we get a real tree. We don't get no fake. We get a real tree. And we put all our decorations the day before Yule, the first day of Yule.
Yeah, basically the day before Mother Night. So we don't start our Yule on... So there are people who start their Yule on the actual winter solstice. We start ours the night before, which is called Mother Night. Mm-hmm. And it's basically blessing, giving thanks to our mother goddesses. So that's a way we celebrate together is I thank the goddesses like Hera, Persephone, Artemis, those goddesses that bring a lot of motherly persona to me. And then Ranulfo does the same thing.
I do Frigga, and I mostly do Frigga because she is and has always been a motherly figure in the lore. But I have recently found out that Freya has a very big motherly presence when you are talking to Freya, when she shows up, it's not a womanly presence, or it is a womanly presence, but there's a difference between womanly presence and a motherly presence, because you could be a woman and have a presence.
Well, yeah, a motherly presence is basically to
like a warm
presence.
Like
a warm protective envelopment.
Yeah. So I would say
that.
Definitely this year we'll be doing stuff for Freya and Frigga. Well, obviously we got to do stuff for all of them. So yeah, the first day is Tuesday, the 21st of Yule.
20th. It's the 20th.
No, the 20th. Yeah, we do the 20th. 21st is the first day.
Yeah, it's the winter solstice.
Yeah. And Yule is probably one of the biggest pagan holidays. I mean, there's a bunch, but it's probably the biggest. It's
right up there with Samhain and Midsummer.
Oh, yeah.
It's the first major pagan holiday after basically pagan New Year's, which is Samhain, which you want to become the best pagan you can be within the coming year. And so you celebrate Yule to celebrate the coming of light, of spring.
Oh, yeah.
Of all of that stuff. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And each holiday has a different things to do, obviously. It's Samhain, it's Halloween. More traditionally, you would dress up as something that you would want to be, like I think you said.
Yeah.
There's Yule is celebrating and honoring our gods, ourselves.
There's a night where we also, I think it's either the first and second night, where we also give a blessing and thanks to our home.
Mm-hmm.
And our home, basically spirit.
Yeah.
Because if you don't give those thanks to your home's not going to reward you within the year, basically. Yeah. And it's just going to...
Yeah. And not just the home spirits or, what is it, whites or rights? Whites. Not whites as like my skin, but...
Yeah. It's the winter whites.
Yeah. And not just the house spirits, but the land spirits as well.
Yeah, basically like the fae, the gnomes,
the fairies.
Yeah, the fairies. Yule is about inviting them into your home, and that's typically why we also get a real tree as opposed to an artificial one, because the real tree signifies the outside forest for them, and a lot of my decorations typically I have 2 trees in our house. I didn't set up our family tree this year, but I need to. It's still in the closet. That one is an artificial tree. That is for family ornaments, like baby's first Christmas and, our wedding ornaments, stuff like that. But our real tree is just only for Yule. It has Yule specific ornaments such as little houses, woodland creatures. I have a couple of bears on there and deer and squirrels and stuff like that.
And some homes.
And I have I have houses on there for the spirits to like sit in there during the 12 nights of Yule and be warm in our house and be invited into our house.
And the 12 nights that we do, every day is different, like she was telling you. Each day is signified to a certain deity or not entities, but people. Like there's one night for our ancestors, our Deseer, which is our female ancestors, Odin, obviously, and what are they called? I can't figure out the name for what do you call a chariot rider? A charioteer? I don't know. But you have Manny and Sol who carry and travel around the 9 worlds and giving, or more Midgard, the sun and the moon, and that's 2 separate days. One we celebrate Manny, and when we do Sol. Trying to figure out the other ones. There's one for air, for healing. I think that's the date of like the 25th. It's like forget what day that is.
Yeah.
But for healing, there's a day for Boldar, because he's a beautiful man. He's very bright. But as well as celebrating all that and honoring our ancestors, ourselves, our gods and goddesses, we also give gifts. There's nothing different about that from Christmas.
Yeah, we still give our child gifts. We do it in a way that how kids on Christmas get all their gifts at once. They open all of them all together. Our kid gets 12 separate gifts for each night of Yule. And he is able to pick out whatever gift he wants to open. That's perfectly fine, but typically, yeah. So he does get 12 gifts. We're not neglecting our child or anything like that. He's still, and we still, in our household, because it's mainly just us who celebrate Yule with our son in our families. So we do typically celebrate Christmas, not in the traditional sense, but we still open up gifts with like my parents.
Yeah.
We FaceTime Cody's grandmother, and it just, yeah.
Yeah. He gets all the 12 gifts that we give him beyond Christmas, because the 12 nights go past Christmas. So he gets all his gifts up to Christmas, and then on Christmas Day, because the rest of our family celebrates it. They're not pagan. I wouldn't say they're all Christian, because not all of them are Christian. But I can't say. I mean, but most of our family celebrates Christmas, and that's how we were raised, and we're changing that. And so on that day, our son gets all the gifts from the rest of the family on that day, and he gets to open them all.
Yeah.
So, spoiled.
Yes, it's very spoiled. And then another way we don't traditionally celebrate Christmas, and we try to deter our kid, is introducing him to the culture and basically cult of Santa Claus in today's society, where Santa is everywhere. And during my childhood, I believed in Santa until probably an unreasonable age, probably till about 10. And you know what? It hurt a lot to believe in something, and then
they just be ripped from you.
It's not real. I realized one year my gifts had my dad's handwriting on them.
Right?
So it was like, this isn't real anymore. So, yeah, we wanted to kind of deter our kid from experiencing that kind of heartache. And they still do stuff like at his school for Santa and stuff. And he understands it's a fake person. Santa's not real. But he enjoys the fact that he gets to celebrate basically 2 holidays. He's looking very forward to Yule because he loves being able to participate in our tradition of putting our specific Yule ornaments on the tree.
Yep.
He was very upset today that we weren't doing ornaments today when we put up our tree.
So on ornaments so every night for the 12 nights, our tradition is that we put a rune on the tree, and each rune is it is carved on a piece of wood or drawn.
It's drawn on.
Is drawn on.
I don't have fancy runes for our tree yet.
A drawn runes on a piece of wood, a small piece, and on the back of it, it'll say the day, like the first day of Yule. So that one has to go up on the first day of Yule, and I forget what it is. I want to say it's heritage. It's the Othala.
I don't know. I need to look at them. I know for a fact our 12th night of Yule is our family rune that we put on the tree to signify the closing of Yule and to celebrate our family and basically our religion now.
Yeah. And what she means by family rune, it is a bind rune that I have made to strengthen our bonds and not just physically or mentally, it's spiritually.
Yeah, it's a bind rune made out of runes specific that meant a lot to the both of us.
Mm-hmm. That strengthen our relationship and our relationship with our son, and also protect our family. But we do that every year for the past 5 years. 4 years.
4 years. So fourth Yule.
Yeah, fourth Yule.
Fourth Yule.
Because our first year as pagans, we were just getting into it. We didn't know kind of what we're doing. That's what that new pagans do. They don't know the holidays just quite yet, and that is totally okay.
But we did it to the best of our ability. Yeah. And our second Yule, it was a bit different. We were very disheartened because we were unable to find a proper tree that year because of tree shortages.
I'm so mad.
So, I mean, even if you can't find a real tree, you can use a fake one. We just use a real one just because it feels better in our home and the smell is fantastic.
Yeah. I think we have a fake one for backup just in case.
Yeah, it's black. I don't have a green tree. It's black. It's a 4-foot black tree.
But yeah, we try to get a real tree every year, which is great because past, couple of years we haven't had a problem.
No, it's been, the past 2 years have been great. Our son actually picked out our tree for this year.
Oh, yeah.
He did a fantastic job. I was unfortunately at work.
6.5 foot.
And I couldn't go pick out our tree with them, but he did a good job. It looks huge in our home. It really does. But
you need to cut it and put Odin on top.
He picked out a really good tree for our home, and I typically like to pick one out where it'll fit really good. It has a good vibe to it, and he picked a good one. Oh, yeah. He really did.
And on top of the ornaments, the runes, the other stuff that going on, the squirrels, the houses, and deer, and whatever else, we also put some lights, not a lot. We put some lights on there.
I just have one strand of red lights.
Yeah. And then we also we have an Odin that's a tree topper. So
I love going to Hobby Lobby because it's a Christian store. And you can find so many things in Hobby Lobby to make pagan. It's quite hilarious.
It's just like your spell jars. You take...
Oh, yeah. I go buy spell jars from there. I go buy crystals, whatever, little things, this and that. So that's why I love Hobby Lobby. But Hobby Lobby is fantastic because they usually have really good Christmas sales. And so, and they have really good tree toppers. And I had bought a Santa tree topper, our first Yule. And I was like, let's turn this into Odin.
It had glasses, right? Or no?
Yeah, it did.
And we took them off.
I took off the glasses. I painted Odin's eye patch onto him. So, yeah, it looks just like Odin. And we kind of picked a Santa that looked a little bit like not all fancy. There's so many Santas.
Yeah.
Like we went to Marshall's and it was
to
see if we could find a new one, and it was just
it's hard.
It's hard because
everyone's making them put them up in all white or
like
red,
crazy colors and just fancy looking. And we wanted our Odin to be as natural and simple as possible to fit perfectly onto our tree. And he looks great. He's still doing wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
and we had to get a new skirt.
We did. We got a new skirt this year.
Which is fur, so it fits.
It's not real fur.
No, not real fur.
It's not real fur. It's fake fur.
Fake fur. But, and you can, if you're, whoever's listening, you can follow what we do, because we're not, yes, this is our tradition that we've kind of made ourselves, but not so. We've taken from what we've read and what we've heard and started doing that and put a little bit of our own tradition into it. I was like the runes on the tree. But you guys can do what we do, the 12 nights of Yule.
You can do how many ever nights. There's pagans who celebrate 3 nights, who do it around the time of the winter solstice. It's the day before, the day of, and the day after. That's a really good choice to have, especially around these types of holidays. There's not a lot of time to make. I know we just bought our tree today, and like Yule starts on Tuesday. So it does get pretty crazy. There's pagans who celebrate 5 nights. So however you guys want to do it, it's totally up to you. And that's the great thing about paganism is find something that matches basically your soul as a person, your gods and everything. Even if you're not Norse pagan, you can still celebrate Yule.
Yeah.
You can still celebrate it with your gods just in your own way by asking for blessings, doing dinners, stuff like that. Just, whatever way you guys want. It's not, what's great about Yule nowadays, it's not Norse in the traditional sense anymore, unless you go to like Europe and you go to those big festivals and everything, but modern pagans are making holidays into their own thing.
Yeah. Because there's so much lost when the Christians took away and tried to wipe away Norse or any kind of pagan history away. So a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, are going back to the roots. They're reading a lot, and a lot of people are doing a lot of research and making these books that are really good and putting out this information. Some of it's not great information, but some of it is. Sometimes you just have to pick and choose through what the author or this person is saying, just to see what's true or what you believe is right or wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of knowledge, and a lot of people that have been in paganism for 5+ years, like us. We have quite a bit of knowledge. I mean, your journey has been quite a roller coaster.
Yeah.
From getting your patrons as Hades and Persephone, and then all of a sudden they were quiet, and then they came back, and you were worried. And then as my journey has been hectic.
Yeah, you've been all over the place in yours.
Mine, I started and I went through kindreds and learned a lot through those kindreds, and those kindreds are still going. But with the new community that me and Havlar have helped out and built, I feel like it's a better community than what we were in. For a while, me and MJ we didn't want to be in a kindred because of how many problems there were.
Yeah, there's a lot of toxic kindreds out there, especially there's a lot of pagan communities where if you're not a certain pagan, you're not invited to the club, and it really sucks to be a part of communities like that. I think being a pagan means you can be anything you want to be. It's very inclusive. Doesn't matter your skin color, your gender, who you love, who you don't love, whatever. It should be for everybody, and it's a shame there are still people out there who will judge you based on basically anything. Oh, you're not Norse, we don't want you in the club.
Right.
And it shouldn't be like that. And it's great, like, being in our marriage that even though you're Norse and I'm Greek, we still make it work because it's just who we are as people, and you shouldn't be deterred from being in a relationship with a different pagan or having a friendship with a different pagan.
Yeah.
We have so many great friends in the pagan community who don't have the same gods that we do, but we're still really good friends.
Like Kelton, he's Native American and he's just getting into Norse. But yeah.
And he's fantastic because he loves when I send him spell jars, and he enjoys being a part of the community.
Yeah.
That really accepts you as you are.
For sure. And all the communities that we've been were great in their own way, but we had to leave for certain issues that we didn't agree with. Those issues are not hindering that. I wouldn't say there's nothing bad in those. Yes, there's some bad people. All kindreds make bad decisions, but I'm not going to talk crap about those groups because it's not my place to say anything about them. And even though I've done a big part in a lot of them, or have made those kindreds and built them, it's not my say to say anything about it. What they do with it now is their thing. I gave them what they wanted, gave them what they needed.
Yeah.
To go for whatever they wanted. But the community now that we have, and we had mentioned this in the intro, more than welcome to join that kindred, or that's not a kindred. It's a community that has kindreds and people in it. You don't have to be in a kindred to be a pagan, or especially Norse pagan, because kindreds are a Norse thing. They're more Norse compared to the other beliefs out there. But there are kindreds out there because the community is more Norse based. But what I've done in my 5 years, every time I got into a community, I was always telling them we need to be inclusive. We need to welcome all pagans, because it's not just Norse pagans or just Greek pagans or Native Americans that are being attacked because they're not Christian. Native Americans have had it worse than anybody. They've been slaughtered by Englishmen. Spaniards.
Well, Englishmen and Spaniards.
The same thing. They're both white. In a way.
Yeah.
But Norse, Greek are all under attack. All of them are under attack. Not all the time, but Christians they're a baby religion. And there's nothing wrong with Christians. It's just there's some out there that are just way out there.
Yeah, it's very hard to talk to those types of people who will basically frown upon what you believe in and stuff.
there's a lot of them that we know.
And being a part of a pagan community is really nice because, especially if you have a job where you're surrounded by people who don't understand your religion or anything, it's good to go back to a community that understands what you're going through with your journey, who understands your gods that you worship, who understands more about you as a person, as opposed to being constantly surrounded by people who think you should go to hell and you need to read the Bible and you need Jesus.
Yeah.
So.
You want to save me, but you're condemning me to hell. What? Yeah. Make up your mind. But like we were saying, you don't have to be in a kindred. You could be in by yourself, or you bring your family. What I've done, I've built so many kindreds or communities to include my own family. Even if it was me at first, I had to build it and make it safe for my family to come in. And the community and the people that I've ran into with this community, Havlar, I mean, he'll say the same thing. Me and him, we've only known him, Havlar, for what, maybe a year or two?
Maybe a year.
And we, right off the bat, we became really good friends. I pretty much consider him a brother. And we pretty much came together and we said we needed to do something, make a community. And we made a very friendly community. I don't see any fighting. There's no other problems that I've seen in kindreds or communities online. And it's just a great place to learn, to teach. And there's so many people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you have a lot of Norse in there, but a lot of the Norse people are very open-minded to the other things. And as a pagan, that's what you need to be. You need to be open-minded. You can't be closed-minded to be, oh, I'm Norse pagan. Forget all those other ones.
Yeah.
Because that's not the right thing, because as a pagan, even if you're just Norse, you're still pagan because you worship something that's not Christian. And it's not right to, discriminate, I guess, in a way.
Yeah,
if they're not.
It's not right to do the same things Christians are doing to us, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It was a hypocrisy, right?
Yeah. I love that
Big
we started
word.
with Yule and then started getting real deep in conversation about.
Well, that's usually what happens in Gothar Flighting.
On a tangent.
That's what happens. This is what me and Havlar have wanted to do. We get in. People that watch this that are part of our server know what we're talking about. Me and Havlar, we'll get in server chats and we could just be talking about something and then we just go off on something because, he's a full-blown Gothar.
Yeah.
And I'm not there yet, but I have the knowledge of Gothi from what people have told me and what I know.
Yeah, you just need to take your oath, I believe.
Yeah.
It's the only thing.
That's all I need to do. And also I'm doing my Vitki stuff, which is my specialty in because usually Gothis have a specialty in a way, like of reading.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name he did stones, from the other last community.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what Havlar does. I forget. He'll probably remind me some other time. But I do a lot of runes. I've done runes for 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
And after that, maybe a year or two, I dedicated my life to Freya and her work in divination and doing rune work and trance, trance work, like meditation and all that, and kind of helping people doing that. I mean, I can't help them right now because I'm still in training. I don't want to do something. I don't want to do my rune readings and all that just yet until I know what I'm doing. I mean, I know what I'm doing, but I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
And
it takes years of study.
Yeah. I mean, she could tell you all the books I have. I mean, she has more than me.
Not like pagan.
No,
books,
you have
though.
more. Yeah,
I have general books.
More general books than I do. I got more paid books.
I have a very extensive horror novel collection.
Yeah.
So that's what I mostly have.
Yeah, but I mean, what else is there about? I mean, Yule. Yeah, there's. I don't think we. Is there anything that we missed?
Creole? No.
Yeah, no, we got everything on you.
Yeah. Yule's a pretty simple holiday once you get it down. We've been doing this for 4 years, so it's pretty simple now.
Yeah.
And compared to our first year doing it, where we're trying to figure out what's the best way we should celebrate it as a family. Yeah.
Yeah, the first Yule is the hardest because you're a baby pagan and you just don't know what you're doing.
But it's all right. We have it down now. We're pretty settled.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing is, we didn't have anybody to kind of help us go through and tell us what to do.
Yeah, it's all a very learning experience. Just
we did it on our own. We didn't ask anybody either. And it's okay to ask your fellow pagans that have more knowledge than you, that have more time in the religion, not belief, or it is a belief, but not mythology, because it is a religion.
Yes. Not
just a mythology. The mythologies are just, the stories and lore, but they're still, they might say they're stories or mythology or lore, that they have history behind them. Not just
basically it's like reading the Bible to Christians. You're looking at Christian mythologies. Yeah. That's what it is. It's stories that happened thousands of years ago, and somebody wrote it down and wrote it down and wrote it down again and translated it, wrote it down.
Yeah.
So
now, like in Norse mythology, the equivalent to the Bible for Norse would be the Havamal, which the Poetic Eddas, the Prose Eddas, those are like the Bible.
Yeah.
What is there something in the Greek that's similar to the Bible?
Yeah, the Greek myths.
Oh, it's just the myths. I thought, I didn't know if they had like I wouldn't say like a stone.
Well, it's not a stone. There are certain. It depends on what era of Greek you want to go into. I know there's I'm trying to think what it is. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a separate, basically telling of stories that are older than the ones we traditionally know, and it actually fuses a lot of the gods together and everything. It brings more into
but there's nothing like, because the Bible kind of tells you
the Orphic hymns is what
that just tells stories of the gods. And
basically they were Greek religious poems, and the Orphic hymns basically are more they're older than like the traditional Greek myths now, because a lot like I said, a lot of the gods are kind of they're kind of combined and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they go by different names. Like traditional in Greek myths now, like I can give a good example is they don't really go into the children of Persephone and Hades. But in the Orphic hymns, they actually do list children between them. But they were, sort of. Persephone was kind of raped by Zeus.
Zeus is not a pedophile, but
he's also
a sexual offender.
He's also her father too.
Okay.
So there's one poem that goes into basically Zeus persuaded Persephone to have sex with him disguised as Hades, and their daughter came about, which was the goddess of nightmares, and her name is Melanoe.
That's
and
a name.
She looks very closely to Hel.
Oh, really? She's half beautiful and
she's
half dead.
Beautiful, half dead. She's the goddess of nightmares. Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. Maybe there's a connection there. We just don't know.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But the Orphic hymns is probably the closest thing you'll get to something like, Oh,
okay. Because I know in the Bible, it tells you, how to live your life pretty much, or how you should live your life.
Yeah.
No alcohol, no doing this, and no sex before marriage.
Yeah.
But the Havamal is the same way. It was poems from Odin, who he gave to mankind to not to tell them how to live, but a guideline of how to pretty much present yourself and how to be in the world, giving them ways of doing certain things, how to be, and prose eddas goes, and poetic eddas, and some of the Hama also goes into the lore of mythology and tells you stories from Odin's perspective or somebody else's perspective. Sorry, dogs. Y'all can wait.
It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's their dinner time.
But yeah, that's what I was just getting at. If there was a thing that, maybe I doubt Zeus would ever have time for that if he's messing around. But of doing something like that where they had they didn't have anything that was not sent, but they had a guide, I guess a guideline for mankind, because the Greek gods did make humankind in their mythology or their belief.
Yeah.
I mean, every belief out there.
Yeah. But it's more on free will and stuff.
Oh,
there's not really a guideline because
I think I'm using guideline wrong. Because Odin wants us to be free willing and all that. Is one of the gifts that him and his brothers gave us.
Yeah.
But I guess there were not guidelines, but knowledge to pass down of how to be kind and nice and precautions in ways say in a way when you go in there's one that when you go into a room or a building or restaurant you look around before you sit, or you sit in a spot where if something happens you can act on it or escape to more protecting yourself or others. No, there's not.
I don't think there is.
I think it's
really weird. No, I don't.
It's just poems and
I don't believe
stories.
I can do more research though, but yeah, no. It's mostly just poems and stories and stuff like that. From what I have read, I'm sure someone's going to tell me I'm wrong and just
right. Hey,
by the way, I'm sure there is. So
I haven't gotten there.
Yeah, haven't gotten there.
But a little bit on. We did forget something on you. I was just thinking. There's the sacrifices that we do for not every night, but most nights.
We do one night.
Well, yeah,
where we do a sacrifice.
Well, yeah, which is the day of Yule.
No, it's in the middle of Yule.
Yeah, it's in the Yule. Yeah,
it's the 5th or 6th.
Yeah,
night.
I think it's Odin's day, where that's when we sacrifice, or we give him.
It's either the day for Odin or the day for Thor. We do a meat sacrifice, and typically for those days, you want to do something you yourself have killed. My belief, I cannot kill an animal. It's just the thing. I would burst into tears if, and it's funny. It's one of those things where it's a, what is it called? It's funny because I work on a hunting camp.
Yeah.
Irony. It's ironic because I work on a hunting camp. I see dead animals all day long. I see guys just gutting up an animal after they have shot it with a bow or shot it with a gun.
But you can't do it
But
yourself.
I can't physically do it because you're killing something for funsies.
Well, yeah, that's
Even if
different.
I was gonna kill it because I needed to eat, I would still cry. It's just one of those things, and one of those things I do is I always, like, if I accidentally kill even a bug, or if I find a dead animal, like, I'll find, like, dead snakes or dead birds around camp, and I always go, may the gods bless your soul while you move on into the afterlife. Goodbye, and I bury it. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
And I always do that, even when they're, like, hanging deer.
Yeah.
I'll go, may the gods bless your soul.
Right.
Because I feel bad, because that is a living creature. It is a living thing. I will happily still eat meat. I'm not vegan. I'm not vegetarian or anything like that. But I myself can't kill something. So if we do eventually do an actual proper animal sacrifice, I would not have killed it. It would definitely been you. But yeah.
But I think there was like one year I killed a rattlesnake and we sacrificed that.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah, because I killed it.
Because you killed it.
I don't know what I'm gonna do this year. One of the doggies gonna go. No, I'm kidding.
No. No, they won't taste very good.
Especially that one has no meat on it. We have like 3 dogs, so they're over here crying. So we're probably gonna be ending it here. Is there anything else you want?
No, pretty good.
Alrighty.
Thank you guys for joining us for our lovely podcast for tonight. If you guys have any questions, gladly leave your comments on YouTube. Anything I need to plug? Subscribe to your podcast. Subscribe to Flighting Gothar. They're on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Happy fall.